If you don't do the work, I can promise you're not going to get the listing. If you do the work, you give yourself a chance. And that's ultimately what you're signing up for by getting a real estate license, right? That's what you sign up for. This is entrepreneurship. This is building a business.
Today, we're speaking with Tyler McClay. Tyler runs a team of 30 agents. He is the founder and CEO of Tyler McClay Realty Group. He does about $350 million in sales volume every year. He's done over $1 billion in sales volume, and he actually has a coaching company as well. So the conversation is going to be really interesting. We're going to talk how he started his team, and then now how he's transitioned to running the team and coaching as well. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of you and your business and what you've built. So it's an honor to be here.
Well, listen, to be able to start in real estate and be successful is already a rarity, but then to be able to do, the type of business you've done, and then now to have a second business as well right beside that and working in tandem, I'm really looking forward to the conversation. But maybe to start, we can share a little bit about your background and then what actually got you into real estate.
Sure. Yeah, of course. So, I'm a third generation real estate agent. My grandparents, three of the four of them were in the business. My mother as well is still a full-time active real estate agent. She works with us on our team. So early in my career, I kind of started with her. I did my undergrad degree in finance. I wanted to be a Wall Street banker. I love numbers and money and the portrayal of that, Wall Street lifestyle. And I worked with my mother one summer, just kind of helping her out one summer, and I fell in love with the business. So basically on my 18th birthday, as soon as I was legally allowed, I registered for my real estate course and wrapped it up super quick, lickety split. It was still in person then. And ever since, I've just been in love with this business. It's a confluence of all the things I love, the people side, the numbers side, the economy side, and kind of that entrepreneurial side as well.
So being in the family, is that something did you always know you wanted to be a real estate agent? Because I've heard many stories where, the kids are growing up and, the parents, they're working a lot and the kids are like, I never sell real estate. And then all of a sudden they grow up and they realize actually real estate is a pretty cool gig. And they go out and they try a few different things and they go back and they circle back to real estate. So is that something did you always know you're going to get into real estate, or is it something that was the latter of the two and figured it out after?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. It was never a thought. I was always naturally entrepreneurial. I had a lawn care business. I've had a number of businesses as growing up through high school because I wanted to start working at 13 and no one would hire a 13-year-old. So I had to do my own thing. But ultimately, no, I think the big thing, Mark, is that in this day and age with social media, you see all the highlights, you see all the best parts of this business, which you and I both know is very slim. That's the tip of the iceberg. And I think the opportunity I had and why I agree with you, most I think new agents growing up in a family of agents don't want to get into it is because you see the worst of it. You see the running out on dinners, running out of a wedding, running out of a whatever, right? Events. And I used to train karate. My mom would grab me and pull me out of karate because she had to run to a showing. So, being exposed to all the worst parts of it, or the most difficult parts that come with, or roles that come with being a real estate agent, I think just better mentally prepared me for what was to come. And I think maybe in this day and age, a lot of agents getting into the business or launching a career, because they see on social media all the fun parts, touring the cool properties, going to pre-construction launches, podcasts, they say, wow, this is fun. And I think they attribute too much of what they think the bulk of their day is going to look like in this space. So I would say I absolutely didn't want to get into the business because I saw the worst of it, but I also saw the best of it firsthand. The flexibility, the earning potential, the authority that my mother had too. It was just the respect her clients had for her was a big reason why I wanted to get into this space as well. Being in a position of not power in the negative sense, but influential in the positive sense, helping people. I know agents say it all the time, I want to help people, but genuinely growing up with my mom, being right by her side, learning this business from the ground up, thanks to her, was monumental, influential in my development and my desire to be an agent.
Well, and especially growing up, you see it in kids where their parents are in a business and it just like through osmosis, it just, they have certain skill sets that they're just not more naturally inclined as they get older to be able to pick up because, you're around the phone calls, you're around, the business. So that was a major advantage, I think, that you were able to, grab onto, and then you've taken it to a whole other level. I'm curious though, when we're talking about like the good and the bad of the business, what do you think are the biggest things that real estate agents, when they get into the business, like before, like you saw your, your mom and your family in the business, so you got to see kind of the good and not so good. But for other agents, they see, they see a real estate agent walk in, they bring the agreement and they sign the listing, and then they walk in and they bring an offer, and it's like it's done. It's like, what did you get paid? So they see like the sexy part of the business. But what do you think are the main things that, when new agents get in the business after, say, a year in the business, they look back and say, I wasn't expecting this, this, and this? Or are there certain things that you think they are?
Yeah, no, I think that's a phenomenal question. I think that it's the work ethic as a whole and knowing what has to go into this. I mean, I'll frame it this way. I tell my team all the time, right? That big commission check at the end of the day. If you're not doing the right amount of work to earn that amount of money, then you should just give it back to the client, because otherwise you're just getting in the way. So for us to expect that we can knock on four doors, get a listing of in this marketplace, 1.2 million, and earn a $30,000 commission check for knocking on a door, typing a deal that our offices sometimes even do for us, and posting a reel, I think is just unrealistic. And I think that the biggest thing that lacks today is the input. And we talk about AI, we talk about automations. A lot of brokerages, promote themselves by the automations and hands off approach. I think what's really lacking, or what gets under appreciated, is the work, the effort, right? You and I both know, and anyone that's been in the business more than, I'll say, 3-4 years, knows how much it hurts when you work your butt off and you lose a deal, or the client says, I decide, we've shown them 42 properties and they say, I'm going to stay in my parents' basement. Or we've had a home listed for 6 months and they say, you know what, my sister's going to move in and help me with the mortgage payments, and we're not selling anymore. Right? We make a huge investment of our time and our money into this, or we should. And I feel like just maybe the care, the decorum, the professionalism, the back end stuff, we're looking too much for shortcuts. We're trying to replace ourselves with these automations too much. I think that they can certainly enable us and make certain elements of the business easier and more efficient. But I don't think that we can ever be removed completely from this process. So, I mean, to answer your question simply, it's doing the CMA, even if you don't think you're going to get the listing. Because if you don't do the work, I can promise you're not going to get the listing. If you do the work, you give yourself a chance. And that's ultimately what you're signing up for by getting a real estate license, right? That's what you sign up for. This is entrepreneurship. This is building a business. I mean, if they want to see anyone that's done a great job of turning this profession into a business, they've got to look at you, right? You've done a phenomenal job with building a business out of this career path. And I think too many agents just forget the work that goes into it. They'll door knock 10 doors, get discouraged. They'll post a couple of reels. Why don't I have a client yet? So I think just the comprehension of the magnitude of work and effort that we have to put in to get those outputs, it all comes down to the respect for the industry, really, and the respect for, as you say, that paycheck for signing an offer. There's a lot more work that's got to go into it, especially in a market like this. And agents just have to be prepped for that, buckled up for that, and have a plan, know what to do, set goals, all the stuff, that's talked about.
Yeah, that's so well said, Tyler, and thank you for that. It's interesting, a framework that kind of helped me really see things a little different. I'll start with a quick story, and then I'll wrap it up to give perspective on the amount of work needed and the mindset going into it. So I was listening to Alex Hermosi, and he's like, when I was starting with social media, I think he had hired a videographer, and he was like, okay, you know what? Here's what I want to do. And he said, to be fair, I'm not looking for any results I'm not going to do the full measurement until after 4 years. After 4 years, I'm going to make a decision if I like it or not. And it was like, the videographer was like, this is crazy because, most people, they want to see results like in like 30 days. All right. But he's like, no, I'm going to commit to the process for 4 years. And after 4 years, if it's not. And so that long-term perspective and just we'll say the committing to the process is something that it relates really well to this whole building brick idea. So for me, I really think in order to build a business in real estate and a successful career, like By the time you get to, say, 4 years down the road, you need to do 10,000 things. And so if you break that down, it's like this year I need to do 2,000 things or 2,500 things. And, or when I say things, it's like activities. So once I do the 2,500, then I'll be successful. And I think that's where, if you can see it, okay, I need to do all these things, then you just start chipping away each and every day. And if you don't get the result, it's like, that's okay. I'm just going to keep committing to the process, keep committing to doing the daily activities, because I know that success will come eventually. But I think that's where, going back to, it's like I want overnight success. It's like you do maybe 50 things or 100 activities, and you're like, why am I not getting results? It's like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. You have to keep going, even though there's no guarantee of the result, right? But if you follow a certain plan, a certain procedure, you're going to get closer to that guarantee of a result. And there's a quote that I absolutely love. I changed the wording a little bit, but the agent that falls in love with the walk is going to walk a lot further than the agent that falls in love with the destination. And I think there's too many agents that are just in love with the destination, the listing, the commission check, that result, and they're not loving the inner workings of the business. And I think a big reason for my success and a big reason for my team's success is because we have a culture that allows us and enables us to have fun with the day to day, with those 2,500 things that you mentioned in a year, breaking it down. That's 7 things a day. So that's that marginal improvement conversation. If we can just do 7 things a day consistently for 5 years, to your point, it's as good as a guarantee that you're going to be successful, because you're going to outwork and outlast 99% of the market. Right? It's the willingness has to be there. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, love that. It reminds me, when I was growing up, I went out to the hockey barn night after night, and I would take, when I say hockey barn, we grew up on a farm. My dad would flood one of the rinks. He actually, at one point, he put boards up all the way around, because we were posts in the middle of the barn, and from time to time we'd run into them. And I think one of us got hurt at one point. He's like, okay, I got to fix this. And he actually put up boards in between the posts. And so he had kind of like an open rink in one of the, anyways, I would go out there night after night. I'd go out with my brothers a lot of time as well. And we just go shoot pucks, 100 forehand, 100 backhand, 100 snapshot, 100 slap shot. And eventually you start picking the corners. And eventually, as I got better, I started having more fun shooting. And to a point where now it's like, when I pick up a stick, I can still pick the corners. But what was interesting, whereas at the beginning it maybe felt more like practice, as I got better, I enjoyed it more and more. And it's this whole idea of like working on your craft and creating mastery. That kind of, when you get really good at something, you tend to like really enjoy it. And it goes back to your quote there about the agent that enjoys the walk itself is going to actually go further, because they're more likely to get up and actually start walking, versus like, oh, when's the destination coming?
Correct. Correct. I mean, it's important to have goals. It's important to have deadlines.
Yeah.
Harvard says that, you're 73% more likely to accomplish your goal if you attribute a deadline, right? You need a deadline to your goals. So I mean, that's a huge factor as well. But for me, a lot of that is action, right? You didn't sit in your bedroom watching videos or studying the physics of those shots. You actually went out and did it, and you didn't pick the corners at first, maybe for the first 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And I think agents are too nervous to make a mistake. Agents are too nervous to mess up. They want to be perfect before they go out and take action. You're only going to become perfect when you go out and take action. So it's the best way to learn. There's no replacement for that. You have to do.
Yeah, that's so good. And you know what? Like, I remember my very first deal, Tyler. I went to the agent, and I remember we were in multiple offers, and I went and actually presented the offer. I still remember the house. And I remember going to the house, walking in, and he was like a veteran agent. He's like well known in the industry. He's sitting at the table with the seller. I walk in, and I tell him, I say, "Hey, listen, Larry, this is my very first offer. This is my very first offer present, like my very first offer." And he just took me under his wing, treated me well. We ended up getting the deal, and he treated me well, and I was just upfront, and I was open with him, and we got the deal. We got a good price still. I still negotiated with them, but the point there is that when you get out and you're taking action, it's hard to kick somebody that is taking action and they're moving, right? And that's where when you see somebody like a real estate agent, say, knocking on the door, and you see them out there hustling, like, yeah, the odd person might have a bad day and yell at you or slam the door or whatever, but like when they see that hustle, that's where like they will remember that. And I remember like years later, after door knocking and snow blizzards and stuff, I remember getting calls back from people saying, "Hey, I remember you knocked on my door like 6 years ago, and I remember that." Yeah, right. So I think the taking action part is something that is, it's attractive seeing somebody go after something, having a setting a goal and then taking action on it. Right.
Well, I mean, just to that point, I work with something called the Eisenhower Matrix. Okay, so there's four quadrants, and I organize my to-do list in the four quadrants. If anybody wants to look it up, it's super easy to find. Google Eisenhower Matrix. It's those important but non-urgent tasks, right? So to your point about there's a blizzard, it's raining. Oh, I'll door knock tomorrow. Oh, I'll door knock next week. Oh, I'll put it off. There's no accountability in this space, so it's really all on you. The discipline, the inputs. So that's a really powerful tool that I've used, is scheduling a time for those important but non-urgent tasks to hold myself accountable to do that lead generation that's so easily put off.
Yeah, that's so good, so good. Um, okay, so when you started, take us through how you actually generated business. That's like a big question. New agent starts are like, how do I generate business? Is like, how did you do it when you first started? I know it was a number of years ago, but from what you can recall.
Great question. I mean, I think that what I've done, and with my just luck of the draw, timing wise, getting in the business, I had the great experience to the old school strategies. My first office was in Woodbridge, a bunch of old Italian guys that had been in the business forever, and I learned the old school approach with my mom as well, like just what works, right? The door knocking, the cold calling, and then growing up in this era with the emergence of social media and content and all that, I kind of created a system that leverages both. But to answer your question, when I started, I took maybe 20 minutes and I thought critically. I thought, how am I going to earn the respect at 18 years old? How am I going to earn the respect of people to transact at this magnitude? And I thought, okay, what can I leverage? I can leverage my mom. I can leverage my brokerage. And how am I going to meet these people? Well, that's for me to figure out, as long as I can meet 10 new people a day. I wrote down 10 on everything. Like, I'm huge on notes. I have notes everywhere. I write notes on everything, like literally everything. But one thing I would write all the time, my first year in the career, was 10. I just wrote 10 everywhere. And if I didn't meet 10 new people a day by like 6, 7 p.m., I'd go knock on 3 extra doors. If I was at 7, I would just go knock on 3 random doors. I would drive anywhere and knock on 3 doors. I needed to meet 10 people a day, no matter what. And the thing that I still do to this day is similar to the red car theory concept, where if you're looking for it, you'll see it. I was looking for business everywhere. When I went to my friend's stags, or I went to my niece's soccer game, or I was showing a condo in a building, I'd be on high alert looking for opportunities to talk about me and talk about real estate. And I found that the more curious I was about people, the better conversations I had. So I to talk to these 10 people, the first 3 months was tough. I was asking for business. I was doing what I was told to do, ask for the business, and that's it. And the quality of conversations wasn't there. So again, I took 20 minutes. I thought critically, what's going to make people want to talk to me? And I thought, let me ask them more questions. So I got in the habit of being genuinely curious about people. It made me a phenomenal conversationalist. It made me a phenomenal small talker, if you will. And I met a lot of people. My second year, I upped that number to 20, and I would do anything and everything I could do to meet 20 new people a day. Now in year 2, I didn't go and punish myself at 6, 7, 9 p.m. at night on a cold December evening, knocking on doors, pitch black. No one opened the door. But my second year, it was kind of a goal. And even if I met 13 people, 17 people, I knew it was probably still a lot more than the average agent that's not getting out there. So I tell my guys, I tell my agents, I tell my coaching students, show up, right? Go to the boat show, go to the, new parent show. What's the profile of people? Now I've refined this strategy. It's still the same thing. Talk to people. When I go to the boat show, I'm talking about investment real estate, because more than likely those guests have disposable income. When I go to the wedding show, I'm talking more about the first time buyer opportunities. I'm talking about markets like Barrie and entry level assets, right? Like different perspective. So when I know the profile, it makes those questions more intentional. So it's just kind of been an ongoing journey. But for any new agent, you've got to meet people. And, you know, agents say, what do I do to generate business? How do you meet people? Go to a local soccer game, host a community picnic, host a community garage sale, attend an event, attend the boat show, knock on some doors, pick up the phone, ask for referrals, add 10 new people to your database every single day. It's very easy to do when you wake up, put on a suit, make your hair look fancy, and get out there. It's really, really easy to do. Meet 10 people.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask. Like, how do you meet people? It's like, oh, I do this. It's a great question because at the end of the day, it all boils down to conversations. And even with social media, it's like the point of that is you want to be able to start a conversation through DM. Like you want them to engage with you, and so then you start a conversation. Then you've built trust at that point, and you can basically take it to the next level. But still, it comes down to you got to be able to talk to somebody and have that conversation. And so that's why I love the 10 because it creates a very clear, we'll say, end result, a clear goal of at the end of the day, was I successful or not? And also what it does is it simplifies the mission. I really think that one of the biggest challenges today, Tyler, is that it's so noisy. There's so much complexity. There's so many things like screaming for our attention now. Uh, how do you recommend or suggest or advice would you have for the agents to be able to? I mean, this is a really great tool. Just focus on 10. That's it. Focus on 10. If you get 10, go on social media all the rest of the day. But to be able to keep that focus going and to not get distracted from all the noise, text, email, all the rest of it. What advice would you have for the listeners to be able to maybe, get 10 and then, maybe even do a little bit more?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess two things come to mind. The one thing for me, just to your earlier points, is impact. Okay, because science tells us that our influence is 55% body language, 55% nonverbal. So I think a lot of agents want to, hide behind their screen, be on social media, send DMs, send texts. Your impact is going to be maximum 45% of its full potential. So when I say get out there, like step one is wake up, brush your teeth, do your hair, put the suit on, and just walk outside. If you walk outside, you'll probably walk and get into your car. If you get in your car and just start driving, you're going to drive past a subdivision. You're going to drive past a picnic. You're going to drive past a park or a soccer field. You're going to find opportunity when you get out there. My trainer at the gym, he said, Ty, because I'm so busy, I wake up to get right into work. He goes, just start your work day in your gym, in your home gym. Just go downstairs and start your work day there. He goes, just because you're sitting on your bench,
Yeah.
when you have a second, you're probably going to pick up those weights and say, well, I'm here anyways. Might as well pick up a weight and do a few reps, right? So when I put myself in the right position, the action becomes easier. But if I don't wake up and put a suit on, guess what? I'm not going to make the reel when I have that idea. I'm not going to hop on and make a little selfie video because, oh, I didn't do my hair today. Oh, I'm in my PJs. Oh, I didn't do this. So the easiest thing, the best thing to inspire that action, wake up, get dressed, do your hair, and be prepared for whatever comes. Because in this business, you just don't know. You just absolutely don't know. The other little tip I'll give is you've got this incredible tool, these cell phones. So what I do all the time is I say, hey, Siri, remind me in 15 minutes to talk to someone. Hey, Siri, remind me, in 30 minutes, give me a reminder that says, get back on track. If I get, a little off track or my buddy calls me, hey, let's grab a beer. Hey, I go on a tangent on Instagram. I'm watching some economy stuff, whatever it is. And I'm scrolling. My phone's going to buzz and just bring my attention back, bring my focus back. Before I used the phone as a tool to just like set reminders, set alarms to bring my focus back, it was really truthfully as simple as being consciously aware of being productive. So when I found myself, and it was just a mindset thing, when I found myself getting off track, getting distracted, anything to that effect, I would just be consciously aware of it and say, whoa, what am I doing? I just wasted, 10 minutes of my time. Let's get back to it. Let's go refocus, right? There was a point where I would do 10 push-ups, like just to bring my focus back. I would do 10 push-ups and that would kind of be my reset. Oh, I'm distracted, 10 push-ups, boom, work mode. Kind of just like a cognitive reset, cognitive focus. And that was also very, very powerful. So I did that before the phone, but now you've got a phone. Hey, remind me, Every 15 minutes, I know a few agents that have reminders on their phone, some of them every 15 minutes, some of them every hour, and it just makes sure that they're still on track. If they're spending too long in an appointment, or they're spending too long with their buddies at lunch, or they're spending too long on something unproductive, it just brings that focus back. It
Mm.
just refocuses our brain. So those are a couple things that
Yeah.
I say you got to do to be ready and give yourself that reminder. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's great because sometimes you get locked into a video. Next thing you know, you got a whole hour goes by, and it's like, where did that hour go? Right. And so the reminder it's good. So those are some really great tips there.
We'll start with one, right? Like I'll just, if you don't mind, a quick
Yeah.
story.
Shoot.
There's an old story about a son and a father, and the son's business is not doing so well. And the son says to his father, he says, Dad, I got to give up. I can't do it. And the dad says, well, do you think you could just do one more day? Do you think you could make it just one more day? And the son's like, yeah, Dad, I could probably do one more day. Next day, same conversation, same thing, same thing. And ultimately, a year and a half goes by, and the son's back in business, thriving. And my whole thing is start with one. Start with one phone call. It's not going to be as bad as you think. Start with one phone call. Boom. Start with one door. Boom. You're going to want to do another one. Oh, they didn't answer. Let's try the next one. So just start with one. Anything you do, just start with one.
Yeah. Great advice. All right. So we've talked about lead gen mindset and how do you attack and stay away from, we'll just say, all the complexity and the noise, and just, to actually do work. So now we're say in an appointment. So say we're working with a seller or a buyer. What advice would you have for the agents out there to be able to take, say, an appointment and actually convert it to, say, a signed agreement?
The simple thing is an ask. We have to implement the ask. I think it's really as simple as that. I mean, I don't want to dumb this down, but I mean, there's agents that go and do wicked killer listing presentations, give all the value, do all the right things, manage the expectations, frame the perspective of the market, and are doing all the right presentations. But if the ask isn't there, the client doesn't know the next step. So for me, one of the examples I use a lot, if anyone's heard me on other podcasts, you've probably heard me say this, but it's like I'm walking through a haunted house. And if I'm walking through a haunted house and I turn the corner and I don't know what's coming, when that scarecrow jumps out and scares me, I'm going to be freaked out because I didn't know it was coming. If my buddy told me before we walked through this open house and said, hey, Ty, that first turn, there's a scary scarecrow that's going to jump out and spook you. If I know that's coming, I turn the corner, jumps out. Oh, no problem. I knew it was coming. So I think for an agent to get to a close, we have to implement the ask, number one. And number two, we have to tell them what's around the corner. We have to tell them what comes next. We have to paint the picture of those next steps. I've got a bunch of magic words in my coaching program that I use and leverage for effective communication. And one of them is what comes next is, because our job as authority salespeople is to guide. And whether it's with our advice or our stepping stones, we have to share with these clients what happens next. And if we can, again, guide them and show them and pave the way, then it's a lot easier for us to ask. So those two things in conjunction, they kind of work symbiotically. The ask and showing of the system, showing of that flow of what happens next. Agents can be much more effective closers, really.
Yeah, no, that's great. So let's say that an agent sitting at the table, they've done a killer listing presentation. They're sitting there, and you know what it's like, right? It's like you're both looking at each other. Everybody knows what's going to happen next. There's some agents like, what on earth? I don't know what to say. It's like, do you want to sign? Like, or what advice would you have for, say, a newer agent or even an agent that's out there and they have a killer listing presentation, but they're just not closing. So they're at the very end. What would be kind of a closing line that you would suggest for a real estate agent to ask somebody to be able to take that next step and, come on as an actual client and sign up?
100%. Well, just before I get to the close, I always ask the question, what questions do you have for me? And the reason I frame it as what questions do you have for me, it forces them to think about a question, helps build the relationship versus do you have any questions? So it's a very simple shift, but do you have any questions? Nope. Okay, then the close should be easier, we would assume, but they generally do. They just haven't had a chance to think about them. So instead of do you have any questions, it's what questions do you have for me? And how I implement the ask there is what questions do you have for me before we formalize our relationship, right? So that's kind of the way that I frame that. One of the other ones that I use very often as a very simple close is I'd love to get the process started right? Whatever process that is that I shared, whatever's relevant to that listing, staging, prepping, painting, photos, even if it's just media. I'd love to get the process started. I'd love to schedule my photographer, videographer, my media team. Love to schedule that, get it in here. Time is of the essence. Let's formalize this relationship so that I can get to work with my team, right? I want to allude to the work that goes into this. It's not, pardon me, it's not just sign this and I'll put a sign on the lawn and easy peasy. I want to describe, in a sense, the work that I'm going to have to do. So let's formalize the relationship here so that I can get to work, so that I can schedule my team, get the sign installed, start working on the listing description, prep our marketing plan and strategy to get you that top dollar. And if you notice, I'm always kind of alluding to the outcome. I'm always speaking to the outcome to get your home sold for top dollar, to get your home sold quickly, whatever their ultimate goal is, which I derive from asking the right questions throughout the presentation. But it's really as simple as that. And there's a million different ways we can ask for the business. Simplest one is what we do next is, because as you said, right, everyone knows what we do next. Generally, sometimes the clients actually don't. So I will say what happens next is we formalize the relationship with this standard paperwork, and I run them through it, and I say your signature here and your initials here, and they follow my lead because I've asserted myself as the authority in that space. Basically, it's a combination of a lot of little factors, but it all circles back to having an emphatic, confident, authoritative ask.
Mm. So a couple of things I'm just going to underline there on it, because there's a lot of gold in what you said, but 100% the confidence when you ask for the order, if you are not 100% confident going into that ask, people will smell that 100%. So that's why it's, I just kind of like have like an exclamation mark after the confidence there. And you are the authority, you are the market expert. And like, this is a natural next step for you to be able to get to, and you said it, get to we'll say that the paradise, or we'll say the end game, that the goal that you want to accomplish. Right. And so you wrapped it together with what it is for them, which I think is so important. It's not about you. It's about what this is going to help you get there. And that's a harder thing to say no to than, sign this paperwork. The other thing that is genius in the words that you use, there are a lot of agents that use this scary word called contract. And so the paperwork is something that you've used in that. And I think that shift, contract scary, paperwork, that's pretty easy, right? And so that's where it's the words that you use is a big difference when people are like, why, how on earth do you have a higher conversion rate? It's like, it's all these little golden BBs, right? All the little things that add up that are, it's like, hey, listen, yeah, this feels good, right? This is natural versus like, oh my goodness, contract, somebody's going to sue me. It's like, oh, I don't want to get locked in, right?
Right. And that's exactly what it is being likable. Like the core of sales is being likable. To be able to influence, you've got to be likable. And when we tweak our communication that way and kind of soften the magnitude, or at least add in some comfort to our clients when they're dealing with something they've never done before, in most cases, right? Even if it's an upsize, downsize, they could have bought and sold 6 different properties, but if it's the first time they're downsizing, or the first time they're moving from a townhome to a detached home, it's different. Everyone talks about first time buyers. No one talks about first time sellers. How do we make first time sellers comfortable? What do we need to tell them about what's around the corner in the haunted house, right? So by answering all these questions that I predict ahead of time and then softening that blow with effective communication, it makes our conversion rate pretty close to perfect.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. Okay, so now that they've signed, they've come on board. From the time they sign to say, we'll say firm, sold sign goes up, whether it's a selling or on the buying side, what would be some, maybe a couple quick tips here or suggestions there to be able to say, make that a better experience and to build, I mean, there's a million things you could talk about, but are there any things that come to mind that will help an agent, we'll say, take that from agreement to firm and do it in a way that is a better experience? We're more likely to get, say, like a referral or a good review.
Yeah, no, I think that's a phenomenal question, and certainly something that needs to be talked about a little bit more, because obviously you and I both know we don't get paid unless the property sells and then firms up. For me, it all comes back to communication. It all circles back to communication, simply having touch points with your client. It was put to me once early in my career, like a duck on the water, right? A duck on the water in the pond, and it looks so calm and just kind of hanging out, gliding there. But below the surface, the little feet are going like crazy, like a mile a minute. That's us. Our clients don't see what we do behind the scenes. So what I tell my agents and my coaching clients is let them know, not in an arrogant way or an ego way. Well, I'm doing this and this and this and this. No, no, no. Hey, just want to give you a quick little update. It takes you 7 minutes on the phone per week, maybe, to manage your clients. And again, you talked about referrals. The best way to get referrals, the best way to build a business is by doing a really, really good job. And to me, doing a really good job is keeping my clients in the loop. So once a week, pick up the phone. Here's a little update. Here's what's been going on. And here's what I've been doing to generate interest on your home. Here's what I've been doing behind the scenes to generate interest. Hey, look, in a market like this, we haven't had showings, but I'm getting calls. We're generating interest. We're doing what we know works to get properties sold. We're leveraging our database. We're running the ads, knocking on the doors. Whatever it is that you're doing, tell your client in a conversational tone, right? Hey, just want to give you a quick update. Here's how the week's gone. Here's what we've been doing to generate interest. And they appreciate that. They love that. They want to know you're working. If you don't have touch points, they have no idea what you're doing. You could be running yourself ragged, hosting events, knocking on doors, all the stuff, and they don't know unless you share it with them. So for me, communication at the core.
Man, that's so good. So, quick story on that just reinforces that point. We have an agent on our team, phenomenal agent, and a number of years ago, he negotiated the deal. It was multiple offers, and so he's representing the seller. And so, what he did when all the offers came in, he was like basically setting it up in a way that was maximizing the price for the seller. Well, the offer he went in, presented to the seller, and sold the house, got over asking, got a really good price. And after, when we do these surveys after, and he had a 4 out of 5 on negotiation. And what was interesting is we were talking about it after and dissecting what happened. He's like, I can't believe. He's like, I negotiated and I pushed this agent to get over asking. We got a really good price. Like when he was like, we're going over the comps. He's like, I got a really good price. And what it ended up being was he said, I did all this. I'm like, well, did you tell him? Did you tell him you did all that when you walked in? He's like, I don't know. I didn't tell him all the things.
Beautiful example. Beautiful.
Right. And so that's a really good one. If you don't tell them, they won't know. And I like what you said as well. It's not like this bragging thing. This is a very much, hey, just so you know, like you're important, really important. And
Yeah.
this is what I've done in order to get this so that you can get there faster. So you can get, we want to get this home sold for you.
Back to that
But,
end result again, right?
yeah.
Focusing on the initial motivation. No, I love that story, and there's countless examples where agents maybe don't have the respect they deserve for what they do because the client just doesn't know. It's not the client's fault, right? There's this narrative that agents make too
Yeah.
much money. I don't think we make enough for what we do, right? I think there's opportunity there, but yeah, basically it all comes down to communicating our value to our clients.
Yeah.
Simple,
Yeah.
just
So
not
good.
executed. Love.
So good. So good. All right. So, what advice would you have? I'm going to talk about the coaching here in a minute. I mean, this is all applicable to that as well. I mean, the advice you're giving is these are gold nuggets, and all it takes. What's really important for the listeners, all it takes is one gold nugget to work for you to make a massive impact. So now, so you're doing a really good job. There's going to be a number of referrals that just come to you naturally because they're really happy. What advice would you have for the agents to say maximize referrals in a systematic way so that it's not kind of a one-off, but where they can really increase the number of referrals that they have coming into their business?
Great question. I think it's two things. I'm going to go back to the ask. We have to ask for them, right? I make the example all the time. If I just went to the dentist, had a great experience at the dentist, did a cleaning, and then I'm out for dinner with my buddies, and someone says, "Hey, Ty, I really need a new dentist. I just moved to Toronto. I need a new dentist." I'll say, "Okay, that's great. Good luck." It's not relevant. I don't know if my dentist is looking for new clients. He never asked me. I don't know. It's not going to be top of mind for me. But if my dentist just simply said, Ty, hey, we're growing. We just brought in 2 new Hygienists, we can add. If you know anyone moving to the area, you're in real estate. If you know anyone moving to the area, I'd love if you could refer them to our dentistry. Oh yeah, sure, no problem, Paul, no problem, happy to do that. When my friend brings it up, I will refer the dentist. Now, what's curious about my example is no one talks about their dentist ever. You know what they do talk about is real estate very often. We are in such a cool business because everybody's talking about it all the time. So if it comes up at a dinner party, if it comes up at an event, if it comes up, again, soccer practice, I want to make sure that I've simply planted the seed in my client's head. Hey, look, loved working with you. If you know anyone, friends, relatives, colleagues looking to buy or sell, I would really appreciate it if you shared my name. I am currently accepting new business. It's as simple as an ask. Now, you asked about systems. The way I implement my systems is time-based. So I'll ask for a referral once we get a firm deal before closing. I'll ask right then and there for a review and referrals. I'll have that ask because, of course, they're friends, relatives. It's relevant. They just bought a house. They're going to be talking about it. I want to plant that seed at that point. Some agents say, oh, wait till it's closed. Why would I? They're talking about it now. It's exciting and relevant now. And then what I have is I have a 4-step process afterward before my kind of nurturing campaign or contact campaign. But I have a 4-step process. I call them 1 week after. I never call them day of closing. I say, hey, I'm available for you. Call me if you need me. 1 week after is my first touch. How are you settling in? Referral ask. 30 days from there, how are things going? Have you built that furniture yet? Did you set up your daughter's playground in the backyard? Ask for referrals. Plant the seed, right? And well, now I'm watering the seed, if you will. Okay. And then I do it again at 90 days and I do it again at a 6-month mark. So those are kind of my things: 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, and then 6 months. And I will have an ask. And then from there on out, it's just kind of organic with my email campaigns. I always plug in some, we appreciate your referrals, something like that. To that effect. I never incentivize referrals. I'll never pay for referrals. I'll never gift for referrals. I appreciate them and I thank my clients for them, but you don't have to. You don't have to gift them anything or incentivize them in any other way other than doing a good job. And I'll put it this way. If I'm going to refer someone to my real estate agent, it's probably someone in my close network, in my close circle. So what do I value more for my sister, my cousin, my best friend, my teammate at hockey? What do I value for them? Do I value that I'm going to get a $500 gift card to the keg to give them to some dweeb? Or am I going to value the fact that I know my sister, cousin, colleague is well taken care of because I'm referring them to a competent agent? So I think that if you do a great job, you ask for the referral, you plant the seed, and then you water the seed, you will get referrals without a doubt. I'd say about 20% of my business is referral based, 20-25%. Last year was 28%. This year we're 20-25% referral based business. So
Yeah, it's so good and it's so simple yet not easy. It's simple. Just ask. And what I really like as well is about you asked consistently. It wasn't just, oh, on closing and then, dropped off. It was like you asked pretty much 3 more times after that. And so that's where people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught, right? It's like reminder that I'm here. And what's interesting is that people aren't thinking about you. That's like a really good one. It's like,
they're not thinking about me at all. Nope, zero. I'll give you another great example that I do for referrals. I'll give you a great nugget that everyone can use and implement. A lot of agents call their clients on their birthdays, and that's fun and fine. But to me, no one's going to be ranting and raving to their friends. Guess who called me for my birthday today? My realtor, right? Who cares? I call them always on the 1-year anniversary, their purchase anniversary of a home for buyers. And that's something fun and exciting and relevant that will be talked about. When they're with their husband or their wife or their families or their friends, they're going to say, hey, can you believe we've been here for a year? My agent just called me. It'll come up. So I love a 1-year buyer anniversary. And I don't just do it on year 1. I do it every year. Hey, happy anniversary. Ty, my anniversary is in February. No, your home buying anniversary. It's been 3 years, right? So really simple use of my CRM, but the home buying anniversary is fun. It's relevant, it's real estate relevant, and it's a talking point. So that's a really fun, easy one that should be implemented by everybody once a year. It gives you a reason to call your clients in addition to all the other nurturing stuff you should be doing. But I much prefer a buying anniversary to a birthday call. It's more relevant, it's more real estate, and phenomenal talking point.
Yeah, that's gold right there. It really is, and it makes sense to me. And to me, it's like anytime you're going to do something, it's like, does that make logical sense? It's like, yeah, that does. That people will naturally talk about it, and nobody else is going to remind them. Whereas like birthday, they're going to get a bunch of other, hey, happy birthday, happy. You got like 50 other people, on social. It's like you're just kind of one of the 50, and but with their anniversary, nobody's going to do it. So it actually differentiates you in a big way. So Tyler, I picked up your book and I read it, and so you had some really good advice on CRM management. And so, can you share some of the key insights on documenting and then kind of the life cycles there to be able to bring them through? Because as you're in the business for a number of years, you realize like your CRM pretty much is your business, right? If you don't have your CRM, it's like how you gonna you have no contacts there. How you gonna be able to call your clients? You got to try and remember them. So can you give some advice to the agents that you'd maybe give for your team members and coaching clients to be able to maximize their contact management system and to be able to get more from their database?
Great question. Yeah, thanks for picking up the book. Yeah. Well, there's two big things I do with my CRM, and again, we have to understand CRM is client relationship management. So I'm managing the relationships with my clients. How do I build those relationships? Touch points. So my CRM gives me the ability and gives agents the ability to build a business versus a transactionary hobby. So if you don't have a CRM, you need one. Everyone says, what CRM do you use? It doesn't matter. You just need one. The first 2 years of my career, it was an Excel spreadsheet. It was just tracking. Okay. But I have always done these two things. Number one is the way that I organize or document. I use the first, last, next method. So the first time I ever met Mark, where did I meet him? What did we talk about? What was the conversation? Great. That never changes. Last is the last time we spoke, right? We talked at the Buzz conference, we had a conversation, and we talked about the Barrie market, the Toronto market, whatever. Awesome, right? You mentioned that you may want to buy an investment property downtown Toronto. Just saying. Great. Next is the next time I'm going to call you. So when I put next in there, I'm going to call Mark in 2 weeks' time. I put it in my task calendar, and I'm going to speak about that investment property we discussed and maybe have some options ready for you. So for me, the automations, the stuff is great. The drips are great, but personalization, there's nothing that'll trump personalization ever in relationship management. So the first, last, next gives me a reason where if I meet a client, oh, how's your puppy Rover doing? Must be what, about a year old now? Whoa, how'd you know that?
Yeah.
Because I have a note in my CRM and I give a shit. A lot of agents just don't
Yeah.
give enough of a shit. So that's the first, last, next. And the other one that I think might be even more powerful is I rank all my clients not based on personality, not a type A, type B, a red square, blue triangle, all this fluffy stuff. I don't do that. What I do is I give them a number from 1 to 7. And I can't get it wrong because the number from 1 to 7 is where they are in their transactional journey. Okay, so if they're a buyer, for example, a 1 would be I just met them at the boat show. Met a client, had a great conversation, plug in my first, last, and next, and I'm off to the races. The next time I speak to that client, my goal is not to get them to a 7, is not to get them to buy on the first phone call. It's to build the relationship. Again, client relationship management. So now for me, it's how do I get them from a 1 to a 2? Right? How do I get them from a 1 to a 2? What asks do I have to implement? What things do I have to do just to get them to a 2? Just to invite the opportunity for me to send them listings, book a meeting, have a conversation, right? And then again, my task calendar, first, last, next time I'm going to talk to them, I'm going to try to get them from a 2 to a 3. So what this does, Mark, is it elongates the sales process. And I think you asked me earlier, what's one thing agents maybe aren't prepared for? I think especially in a market like this is the elongation of the sales process. So this just helps me conceptualize and helps my agents, my coaching clients visually see what their goal is and comprehend the magnitude of asks that need to be implemented to get to the next step. It's very hard for me, like buy a Lotto Max ticket instead of assuming you can knock on a door and put a sign on the lawn the same day. It's not realistic. Okay. Likelihood is low. It could happen. It's happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you, but the likelihood is low. For me, it's when I knock on the door, I have a conversation. Great. Would you mind if I stopped by again next month with some more market information or community events? Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Okay, great. A 2. They know my first name. We built a relationship. Great. When they ask me to send them listings or they come by an open house I have in the area, maybe there are three, right? And as I get them out on showings, as I get them out and build this relationship, I'm moving them through that funnel. It's super simple, and it's just a phenomenal way to again conceptualize this journey and what our role is as salespeople. If we can do that, and it also helps us gamify it a little bit, which keeps us interested and motivated. The results are astounding, really, when you implement these little things. So first, last, next, track your leads, and then I always attribute a ranking 1 to 7. And if I'm early for an appointment or late to an appointment, I'll pick a number 4. I'll pull up all the 4s in my CRM, and I'll start calling them. How can I get them from a 4 to a 5? I have a role. I have something I can do if I'm early or my client's running late or a client just canceled. I just found an hour. What can I do? Let's move the 1s to 2s. What 6s can I get to a 7 today? Who can I get to offer today? Right. So again, it's a lot of this. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that and it's so good, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's simple. And what I really like about it is, a lot of people are like, I need a sale, I need a sale, I need a sale. But the reality is in order to get to a sale, there are a number of steps that you gotta move the client along. And there are little micro goals that you really need to do. And so I think breaking it down, and then, like you had said, gamifying it as well on that. And when I we're talking about gamifying, for the listeners, is more of like, how can you, the relationship is genuine. The relationship is, it can't be forced, but you can water it, you can grow it, you can intentionally build into it, which will nourish it, which will actually move it quicker. But it's a form of measurement. And, it's really interesting. I think when you start to measure things like that in regards to where it's at, it creates clarity and focus what that next step is. And with clarity and focus, you can move a lot faster. And I think that's where there's genius. And in order to create mastery, you have to break it down to the simple. At the end of the day, it's interesting when I'm speaking with, regardless of whatever the industry is, if they can break things down to simple, where they can explain it to the everyday person, I know they know it really well. But when they're using all like the internal language and they're like confusing people, and they're not speaking at that next level or that level down, I think that's where it's like you have to understand it at that, we'll say, the so in depth that you can break down complex ideas, like the whole E equals MC square. Like, that's a simple formula, but it represents something that's fairly complex, right?
Speaking of E equals MC squared, Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain something simply, then you don't know it well enough. And I love that quote, exactly to your point. And I tell my team all the time, you can't confuse your clients with all this big jargon and these real estate terms. If you understand something inside out and backwards, you should be able to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very good. So Tyler, just transitioning a bit. So you built a really successful real estate team, successful in real estate. You're still selling. What was it that you said to you, okay, I'm going to flip over and I'm actually going to, because you're growing agents internally within your team right now, and of course you're great, we'll say, educator, teacher. You have 30 agents there. There's and from the conversation, I can see that as well. What was it? Say, you know what, I'm going to actually get into coaching and open it up so you can actually help more agents. What was that for you that said, hey, listen, I'm going to take a step forward and grow that business?
I think a big part of it was just the respect I have from my industry and wanting to bring that authority back that I grew up admiring so much in my mother, working with my mother, and that respect that her clients had for her. I saw that respect get diluted year after
Mm.
year, get diluted because of the amount of agents in the space, not everyone taking it as seriously as you or I do. And there's great agents out there, but more and more you do a deal and it's more complicated because the agent on the other side is just not qualified, and it's not their fault. There's no formal training. There really is no formal training to build a business. The Humber courses teach you how to type an offer and not get sued. But how the heck am I going to find an opportunity to type an offer if I don't know how to build a business? If I don't know how to talk to people? If I don't know how to manage a CRM? If I don't know how to generate leads, right? Communicate my value. So for me, it was a responsibility, honestly, to bring authority back to real estate salespeople. And it started with my team. I started my team with my right hand guy, Anthony Spano, 6, maybe 7 years ago. And it was very natural. I needed the help and my business was growing. So I brought him in. And then from there, it was organic. Agents started coming to us because they liked the culture and liked what we did. And we grew very organically. And I thought, you know what? I can't affect change the way I want to in the industry with just my team. So I didn't want to be the agent that starts coaching and my clients lose respect for me because now my focus is diverted. I was really worried about that. I wanted to coach before, but I was worried about it impacting my real estate business negatively. And I thought, you know what, being an authority in the space and talking about what I love, it took me 2 years to come to that conclusion that it is something I can do while maintaining my real estate position and clients' respect. And I did it. I launched it because I wanted to impact change with agents at a greater scale. Agents need help, they need guidance. You know, you're a phenomenal leader yourself with your team and your brokerage, and agents need it. They crave it. They need guidance. They need to know what to do. And the rewarding part of it, like seeing their eyes open up when you show them a new strategy, or when they have a question and they're confused and just boggled, and you can simplify it and give them an answer, give them a framework, give them direction, and you just see the stress leave their body. It's like, wow, that's incredible. So I genuinely enjoy it. And I've always loved teaching. I taught martial arts for 12 years. I'm a third degree black belt. So taught martial arts for 12 years and loved teaching. Um, I taught the real estate courses at Humber for a little while during COVID. I've taught at the university level. I taught real estate finance. I taught professional selling. I taught customer service. So I've taught at the university level as well. And I love teaching. And I thought, why not teach what I love and what I know best? And it just happened very, again, organically. And we're putting a lot of time and effort into the coaching program. It's all kind of based on authority sales. So as soon as I assert myself as an authority with my client, whether they know me or not, it makes the whole conversation much more. I guess it just makes the conversation easier, makes the communication easier. It makes my influence of a higher magnitude, and it's just an absolute blast. Like I love doing it.
That's great. And from what I see, you have all the tools to be very successful there as well. Um, yeah, it's if when you love what you're doing, I mean, it's just it doesn't feel like. I remember going back when I was working in tool and die making back in. Well, I did for a couple summers. Funny enough, I actually took the tool and die course in college while I was playing hockey, and I did a couple summers in it. And I remember looking at the clock. I looked at the clock like every 5 minutes. I'm like, oh my goodness, like only 5 minutes went by. And I just hated it. It was in real estate. It's interesting. The only time I look at the clock is like, oh man, I got to get to my next appointment, or oh man, I got to stop doing this project. I got to go to the next one. But it never felt like work. So that's cool that you found that as well. And of course, a lot. Yeah, yeah. So that is very cool. So, okay, the quick question. We're going to get into the rapid fire with the final three questions. But when it comes down to real estate, so investing. So there's, right now there's a lot of, we'll say, a lot of noise out there when it comes down to, investing overall and a lot of uncertainty. What advice would you have, or do you have maybe to say an investor comes to you and says, hey, listen, I'm thinking about buying real estate and they already own a principal property and they're like, I want to be able to invest. What advice would you have for, maybe a client that's coming to you, or maybe a real estate agent that has, they're investing in themselves and, they're wondering where should they invest their money? What advice would you have for them at this point?
Yeah, great question. It's a question we get a lot. We work with a lot of investors, and I think it all comes down to understanding the client and their goals. I think it's important to really articulate that real estate is not a get rich quick thing, right? This is nothing new. I'm not saying anything novel here, but the agents have to understand that to deliver the right advice to their clients. So if I can better understand my client's goal, if they're investing for their kids' future, for their own retirement, I'll have a better idea of what they can do and where they should put their money. I am very Canadian focused. I know I have some clients asking me about the US. I don't like dabbling on two fronts. If I invest in the US, I got to learn their real estate market and be concerned about the value of the dollar. So that's not me. I think there's much better markets in Canada. If I want to invest outside of Toronto, I'll look at Calgary. I'll look at even Halifax, right? I'll look at other markets there. But for me, it basically comes down to two options for the investor client. Do you want appreciation or do you want cash flow? And I think from an appreciation perspective, I'm extremely bullish on the downtown Toronto core condo market. I think that obviously it's no secret we're saturated now, but when you look at the lack of building permits, the lack of new building that'll be not hitting the market from 27 to 29, there's a massive opportunity there from an appreciation perspective. Cash flow gets impacted because obviously mortgage rates are lower than they were, but higher than they should be from an investment perspective. You've got maintenance fees and other elements at play. So from a cash flow, not the play. If it's an appreciation desire, then downtown Toronto condos or nodes, whether it not be downtown Toronto. I love a Barrie, I love an Oshawa, I love a Hamilton because there's ecosystems there. But if you're looking for cash flow, I'm more of kind of the periphery market. I think the cash flow really only works in some of these periphery markets, being maybe a Brantford, Kitchener, potentially Innisfil. You're looking Bowmanville, pockets of Oshawa, but that would be my advice there is step one, decide if they're an appreciation play or a cash flow play, and then attack it that way. I think that those two investors are going to be looking at different things. Am I bullish on the market? I 100% am. It's inevitable that the demand will return to our market. We're not building enough. Stable political, stable economic environment. We've got incredible job growth. We're the biggest city in Canada for good reason. And what makes Canada unique, or I'll say Toronto and GTA unique, is when you look at the United States, you've got 40 major cities, right? If you want to be an engineer or an accountant, you've got 40 options. You can go to Houston, Boston, New York, New Jersey, you name it, there's options. You come to Canada, where are you going to go? Toronto. It's always going to be Toronto. Every single time. We've got the jobs, we've got the employment, we've got the multiculturalism, we've got the transit. Subpar, but it's there. So I truly think that we are unique, we are special, and there's a lot of room to grow, and we're running out of available land to build. You've got Greenbelt, you've got Lake Ontario, so that insulates the inventory, I suppose. More strict lending requirements now. Not anyone can get a mortgage. It's tougher. That also helps insulate the economy. What advice I have? I'd want to learn more about them. Cash flow investor, I'll show you some options. Appreciation investor, I'll show you some options. But I truly think there's an incredible opportunity now based on where we are and where we're going. Interest rates are low, prices are low. Never, ever, or rarely do you get that marriage. When interest rates are high, you see prices compress, right? When interest rates compress, you see prices go nuts. Right now, we're in an interesting place with buyer narrative where we've kind of got this lull where we've got, I won't say low interest rates, but reducing interest rates combined with low pricing and a lack of competition on the buyer side. Screaming opportunity to me.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, it's interesting buying real estate when pricing's low. I mean, it's a similar story right across North America. And, it's a really good time. I mean, when pricing comes down, it's interesting that though when the price goes up 30%, it's like that becomes like a sexy investment again. Whereas when the price came down, it's interesting how it works. I mean, similar with the stock market as well, right? But
when others are greedy, or what is it? Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful, right? I think that it's just it's kind of the herd mentality, right? Everyone does what everyone's doing, and right now everyone should be buying, but they're hesitant, and I get it, but education comes down to education. You got to educate your client.
And a guide there, being able to say, hey, listen, here's something, a way to think about it, and here's like a viable option for you. So
they're not going to take it seriously unless you have that authority and conviction, right? Hence my program is all around authority. If you go in there meek and mild and, well, I think it's a good time, your clients aren't going to take you seriously. You have to be emphatic with your information, your data, and your delivery.
All right. So we have 3 questions here, Tyler. We're going to wrap up. You're ready for rapid fire?
Let's do it. Cool. Let's do it. Like a game show.
Yeah, you got it, man. We can be rapid fire here and we'll get her done. And this has been great so far. So first question is your book, the book that made the biggest impact in your career. Which one is it?
Oh, good question. Scaling Up, I think. Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. Love
Perfect.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid. It's a rabbit hole of different options there for you to go down. If you want something on management, they'll point you in the right direction. But
Yeah. Or is it called,
re-
what's it called? Traction? It might be called Traction.
so, so we got Scaling Up by Vern Harnish is
Yeah.
the purple
Okay.
book.
That's the one.
And then you got the EOS, so the Traction book by Gino Wickman there.
That's another great one. Yes.
Yeah,
There's some complementary
yeah,
thoughts, and I put a lot of
100%.
those together, but those are two wicked ones.
Yeah, 100%. If you read both of them, you'll do really well. So there you go. You got two. You got two for one here. All right, three words. People know you best, Tyler. What are the three words that they would describe you as?
Passionate, authoritative, and kind.
All right, perfect.
Generous instead of kind. I'd change it.
All right, there you go. Well, we'll give you four there. There you go. All right, and final question here, Tyler. So we'll just say, out of everything you've learned, scaling up, $1 billion sales team, and also coaching clients as well, everybody that you've coached, what would be your final advice that you think will actually make an impact, or be able to deliver some value to maybe a new agent that is out there, or maybe it's an agent that's been in the business for a number of years and they're just stuck? What advice would you have for them?
Protect your time and be intentional with your time. I always have a word of the year. Last year was urgency. This year is intention. So I think that there's not enough intention behind what we do. We knock on doors because we're told to. We post because we're told to. But I think that there needs to be intention behind our action. And in order to do that, we have to protect our time. So be intentional with the way you spend your time and set better goals so you can be intentional with your action.
Very cool. All right, Tyler. Well, this was great. This was a great conversation. So for the listeners, whether they want to maybe refer your business, or maybe they want to reach out to you and start a coaching relationship with you, what's the best way that they can reach out and connect?
Instagram, maybe. My coaching page is Rex Coaching, and my personal is just Tyler McClay Realty Group, my real estate page. So Instagram's awesome. We manage those, or just find me. Just Google me. Honestly, Google me. My cell phone is very easy to find. It's on a billboard downtown Toronto on King Street, and it's on Google. So if anyone needs to get a hold of me, Google me, and you will find my personal cell phone number, 647-991-2432.
Amazing, Tyler. Great job today, and thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. And if you don't mind, I just want to say you're a phenomenal, phenomenal host, because you understand this business so well. And because you understand this business so well, it makes the conversation just that much better. So awesome stuff. I love the podcast. I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Tyler. Yeah, this is fun. This is fun talking with other top producers. Real estate's always never gets boring, right? So
that's for sure. That's for sure.
Right on, guys. Well, thanks for listening to the show. If you did like the show, go ahead. You can share it with other real estate agents, and like the channel as well. And if you are looking for an alternative investing solution where you can get cash flow and appreciation there, you check out fulloutinvesting.com. I love you guys. Keep going. Full out.